Two, one. Good evening and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I'm your host, Doug Engler. Joining me as always in the co-host seats are our good friends Miss Angela Rose
Hello, everyone.
and Mr. Darren Starling.
Good evening, people.
And we want to remind everybody that Anime-Zing Radio is brought to you tonight by Home Circle Media for the latest and greatest in anime gear, everything from pens, pencils, stationery, and officially licensed art books. Be sure to check out homecirclemedia.com today or look for them at an upcoming convention near you. We're also brought to you by W Energy Powder. If you're looking for a great energy drink with no crash, no sugars, tastes great and has a wide variety, check out dubby.gg. That's dubby.gg. And if you like what you see and want to make a purchase, use our code AZR10 at checkout to save 10% off your order. We're also brought to you tonight by Triple S Lawn Care. If you're in the Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina area and you're looking for quality lawn care at a great price, reach out to Triple S Lawn Care and Darren will be sure to hook you up with great work for a great price.
Season starting soon. Get on my list now.
Again, thank you to everybody for tuning in tonight. There is a chance we might have somebody joining us later on in the show. All depends on how their schedule turns out and if they can get things working. They said that they have a video meeting tomorrow, so this might be a good test for them to check everything out. So we could have an old friend of ours joining us in the second half of the show at some point.
Yay for surprise guests. Boo for potential technical difficulties.
And technical difficulties.
Since we left Blog Talk, I've seen almost none of those.
I do remember we had a really bad set of technical. It was Rusty Gilligan was supposed to join us and didn't one evening because technical difficulties on his end through no fault of StreamYard. I believe it was weather related.
It was weather related. He had a massive thunderstorm, which out here in Pennsylvania they can spring up out of nowhere, and I think he had lost power or internet, so that's why he wasn't able to actually join us. And hello to all the awesome people in the chat room, John Knight, Ross Luck, and HH. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight.
Now, you know what? I want to do random straw poll for the chat. As this week we actually got the majority of our hotels and various things booked for our upcoming trip to Japan. For people in the chat, what is the thing you are most looking forward to hearing about pertaining to Japan?
AK, what's on your bucket list that she can do in your place?
Or eat.
Yep, food, merchandise. Send her to Akihabara for lewd figures, like Darren has already probably has a list of.
Akihabara is a place we are already planning on going to.
I would hope so.
HH says, okay, so what we have liked to do?
Yeah. Ideas of what people want to see, and I will happily take pictures and post them. Take pictures and post them and talk about it upon my return.
And while we're waiting for all of that to come in, did you see the press conference of the latest guest announced for Anime Boston?
Yeah. The musical guest?
The musical guest.
Yes, I'm actually looking forward to that.
I am trying to figure out how to get on a job where I could have the weekend off. Because I really want to go to that concert.
And Ross's response, reality instead of impossible, so how the food will taste versus American.
Try a Japanese McDonald's. I think you said you have already, but...
We did for breakfast, and it was significantly... McDonald's in Japan significantly better than here.
Actually, that seems to be the theme among McDonald's across the world, not just Japan.
Yeah.
I will say the one out of my travels, the McDonald's that disappointed me was Greece. Shinjuku says John Knight. I will remember to post. When we are there, I will post pictures. Wait. HH's comment: traditional style craft shop. He likes seeing the historical ways people do things. Oh, yes, I did see Yes, I did see that Japan McDonald's is getting an anime. I honestly didn't take that serious. I didn't think that was serious. I thought that was just a meme thing.
Nope.
Yeah.
Someone recently in my town posted on one of our sites to complain, like, what the fuck is this? They got one of the cups they got one of the limited cups, and they were like, "Is this normal?" They were extremely confused, and it was hilarious.
Gotta love promo merch.
Oh yeah.
Especially when you're catering to an audience that, for the most part, is totally immune to anime in general. At least around here, that pertains to predominantly the younger crowd. So it was the older crowd asking, like, "What the heck is this?"
That actually makes a lot of sense. Around here, I've noticed it's far more mainstream, but it also, I think, is to a certain degree a generational thing.
Yeah. Although up here, like in the working for the railroad, I've talked with a lot of conductors who have watched or are into anime, which surprises me. And they have various age ranges.
And
It's not all the younger ones.
John says, remember the Japanese for hello is konnichiwa.
Or
And Ross Ross says it's not an anime, it's going to be a commercial because in the trailer, if you look closer at the bottom of the screen, it says limited time only.
It's
HA
actually going to be a 6-episode series, but we'll see.
To HH, to answer your question, it was Ross miscue on Ross. He meant Japan's McDonald's getting an anime.
Because for many years, as everyone knows, in TV shows, they are not allowed to use official corporations' trademarks in their shows without official permission from said trademarks. So for many years, McDonald's has been the popular substitute used by many Japanese anime. So McDonald's was like, screw it, we're going to capitalize on the notoriety and actually do something with this. Basically snubbing all of the devil as a part-timer.
Yup.
And Angela and I were referring to, while you were getting ready to answer her question, Baby Beard has been announced to be a musical guest. Now, if you don't know who Baby Beard is, Lady Beard is the gentleman in the middle. He is a professional wrestler in Japan and also a singer. Anybody who's a fan of the Trash Taste podcast, Lady Beard has appeared on there. That's when I was first introduced to him and really became a fan of his personality because he was really funny on there. I don't know if you saw that episode or not, Ange.
I saw Lady Beard on one of their channels. I do not remember who.
I think Connor had to wrestle him.
That
It was either Connor or Joey. Those were the two that I know went to wrestling arenas. Joey went with Aki.
And they're the two that I thought they're the two that we actually watch consistently enough, so it would make sense, but
And this is also Baby Beard's first U.S. appearance ever. So it's really exciting that they are coming to Anime Boston, and I really want to go now.
Well, we I'll be around, and if nothing else, that will be another thing I talk about after the convention. And continuing, the Japanese band With a Mission is doing an American tour. They did one of the many theme songs to My Hero Academia. I'm sorry to hear that you're not feeling well, John. Please take care of yourself. And
hopefully you feel better soon.
Agreed, because it's that time of year and lots of respiratory nonsense going around. Flus and whatnot. Also announced on the spirit of convention announcements, they announced some Final Fantasy panels for PAX East, aka the weekend before Anime Boston,
aka Easter weekend.
No, Anime Boston is Easter.
I thought Anime Boston was pushed back a week from Easter.
Nope, Anime Boston is Easter.
And speaking of which, Easter is weird this year. It falls on March 31st.
Yep.
Oh, that's right.
And John Ross says to drink plenty of orange juice, have some honey, and get plenty of rest.
For those of you on the topic of conventions, for those of you that are going to be in the New Jersey area next weekend, is PoochieCon at Teaneck Marriott in Teaneck, New Jersey. I will not be going to that due to the fact that I will be working in Allentown and the rail yard. If I won't lie, if I had gotten called for the train that goes to Jersey and I was stuck in the hotel for hours, I might have seen about trying to get a ride to the con for like half a day or something. But
I'm surprised PoochieCon's this early.
The Jersey show is this early. I think they're going to have their Pennsylvania show later in the year.
Because I remember the Jersey one we did was in July.
Yeah, I think it's whenever they get the...
AKA no consistency whatsoever. Got it.
Yeah, well, last year they also, I think, were in Atlantic City.
No, last year it was Teaneck. The year when we were at the table next to Aaron Campbell, that was Teaneck.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago because I didn't make last year's Jersey show.
Was that 2 years ago?
Yep.
Holy crap. All right. Never mind. It all blurs. Case in point, I've been doing this long enough, it all blurs.
Some of the guests that they have for PoochieCon include Erica Harlacker, Brian Beacock, Alyssa Merrick are all going to be there. I think there was more. I need to look and see.
And HH says, Aaron Campbell missed that dude.
Also, Donna Bella Litton is going to be there. Karina Botiger is going to be there. Christina Kelly, Jack Stansbury as well. So some great guests that are going to be there. If you're able to make it, be sure to check them out.
Doug, I'm going to do a shameless plug.
Oh, do it.
For those who can't be at a convention in person, I did a recording with ESP Productions to talk about last year's Anime Boston and hype up for this year's Anime Boston. So when that video goes live, check that out.
Awesome. And when that video goes live, she will be sure to post some links on our social media pages so you can find it.
But that's the channel where I play D&D when I'm not, here talking anime with you fine folk.
And Aaron Campbell, it was a lot of fun talking with him,
And just being a nerd. That was great.
no, I know that you both said that you have been catching up on some of the shows that you've been watching this week, and Darren, we'll start with you since you usually have the least amount of time out of the three of us to watch stuff. What have you been watching, and what are you caught up on?
I caught up on a lot. Weather.
He still hasn't started Fluffy Paradise yet, so I'm disappointed.
No, but Angela will be proud of me for something.
What?
Anyway, but I'm gonna go down I'm gonna take it from top to bottom first, so you're gonna have to wait.
Should I answer Ross's question before or after?
Go ahead.
Ross, the answer is yes, I went to Japan in 2018. Based on what I saw, there was not nearly as much the different colored hair as is shown in anime. There were some with the bleached hair, but not nearly as much as anime would have us believe.
Go figure.
Mm-hmm.
And Ross continues to say black or brown hair, but is that true for Japanese in the real world, or do they have natural different hair colors like Americans do? So I think he's asking if most Japanese people are black, brown hair, or if they have blonde and red and
native Japanese. It's mostly the black brown, unless you have in cases where you see anything else, it is overwhelmingly one parent or further back is not. There's a ancestor who is not Japanese.
And John Knight says that he's starting to catch up on the One Piece dub, which is really cool.
Impressive given how much One Piece there is.
You'd think for One Piece there'd only be one episode, but no, there's thousands.
All right, there.
And that's what we're here for. We're here to teach. We're here to give you any information that we know. Thank you for the question, Ross.
If there's enough interest, I will happily do like a segment at some indeterminate point in the future where you all ask questions ahead of time pertaining to culture in Japan or elsewhere, and I will happily answer them all.
But as we were getting ready to do, Darren, go ahead and start at the top of the list and let us know what you've been watching.
Okay. Top of the list. Dangers in My Heart Season 2. The score keeps going up. It's that good. It's at an 8.81.
Is it going to surpass Full Metal Alchemist and Freerun on the MAL charts?
Depends on how the final episode is, because remember, Kaguya-sama did that for a while there. That final episode shot the series up above them for a short while. Well, up over FMA for a while because Freerun wasn't out yet.
If I was a true gambling person, my money would be on for the short term, yes, but long term, no.
Well, I have to say, it's like I said, it's done pretty good because not often does a romance anime get much above a 8.3.
So Darren will take that as a win right there.
Exactly. And further down the list, The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic. It is not anything like Redo of Healer. It's actually quite a interesting take on it. sending your top one of your top fighters is also your top healer and develops her own squad specifically to heal while still being strong enough to mow down just about anybody in her way. And let's see, Hokkaido gals are super adorable. Love that one. Keeps getting more wholesome. Let's see, from there, what else? What else? What else? Chain Soldier. It's etchy. It's fun. Get over it. Doug, you're gonna be proud of me for this one. I
Okay.
watched. I watched Gushing Over Magical Girls. I
Oh
binged.
boy.
I binged it.
So you're caught up?
Yep.
What is your thoughts?
Not bad. Could be a lot worse.
It could be. And Kaya says, that anime.
Yes, we hate the grandma Ross. But yes, Gushing Over Magical Girls has been an interesting one. It and Chain Soldier are the first two quote unquote etchy anime we've had in a hot minute. So it's refreshing, I guess you could say. Even though Gushing Over Magical Girls has an interesting spin on things, I get it. But
I will say the most recent episode of Gushing Over Magical Girls has gotten interesting.
uh
Uh,
huh. But
that took
then
a different
again,
spin from what I thought it was going to be.
I I just don't understand the whole Cube thing. Like you have a black Cube and then you have a white Cube looking thing, and
I think it's supposed.
I haven't figured the black one out yet.
It's almost like a good versus evil portrayal
But
of black and white, but
but but
at the same
define
point in
evil
time, it's tough to know exactly what the hell the show's about.
exactly because always in these evil organizations, it's kind of like if I had to give a good example, Megamind. Even though I never really watched the movie, I know enough to tell that was the evil really that evil, or was it more or less just to keep the protagonists on their feet and kind of like a rivalry more than a good versus evil deal?
I still consider it BDSM, the anime.
Yeah, it is. It's about like
Angela might get a kick out of it if she wants something just stupid to watch.
I
episode 6 would probably push people. I mean, it's probably one of the weirder ones out there, and I get why.
Yeah,
But eh. So I binged that one. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, I binged The Angel and the Devil because much like uh Gabriel Dropout, you have the angel that's on Earth and you have the demon that's on Earth, and to be honest, the angel comes across as more sadistic and whatnot than the demons. And it's kind of a interesting relationship building between the two.
um,
So binge that one.
Kaya Tanu says that they've been enjoying I believe it's Hokkaido Gals you were talking about, that they haven't watched any ecchi in a while.
no, I think if
No,
it's
he's.
itchy, it's not
think
Hokkaido
they're.
Girls. It's
I think
Uh,
Gushing
they're
Magical Girls.
referencing
uh,
Magical Girls
can we
because
tell
Hokkaido
this is not my that this is not my genre?
Hokkaido Gals is more of a romance because Chain Soldier and magical girls are the only ones that haven't had floating sensors, because there's actually a need for them per se. So it's the first ones I've seen in a minute. Um, I can't really remember the last quote unquote etchy show. Was it? I mean, what was the last etchy show you remember, Doug? Was it Interspecies Reviewers or what?
Probably interspecies reviewers. I don't know if Redo of Healer was etchy because I never really watched
It,
Uh,
it,
it
but
it 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 was,
I
but
will say that
in the sadistic way.
somebody else referred to Keijo as etchy.
That's subjective.
yeah,
I,
I wouldn't consider Keijo as etchy, but
that's a. I
but
saw it. I've never actually seen it, and last night at a party, someone put on a clip show from it, and it is not for me.
no, it's just like stupidly
Stupid
sports.
fun.
Like I understand. I get like objectively, it's fine. It's just it is not for me. But
In the chat, Ross says, still don't understand why the title of Foolish Angel because she's not foolish type.
And in the eyes of her superiors, she is. Um, that's in the eyes of the beholder. Anyway,
and
but
Kaya says, "Love magical girl animes. New Precure is good so far too." Uh, and then agrees with you, Darren. I don't think we've had an etchy show for quite some time that wasn't really censored. And then John Knight says, Hokkaido Gals are super adorable, has an English dub.
mhm. And let's see, Doug, are you caught up on Heroes Party?
I am behind by today's episode.
Okay, watch it. I'm looking forward to next week's.
Before the show tonight, I was tossed up between that and Freerun because Freerun had been out a little bit longer. I wanted to catch up on that, and after the show, I will probably watch Heroes Party.
Okay, let's see. Next on the list was my instant death ability is so overpowered. That show has been all over the place, yet is stupidly fun. Um, it's mindless entertainment, I'll admit it. And lastly, Angela will be proud of me. I started, or resumed, I should say, A Sign of Affection.
Yay!
My wife's been watching that one as well.
It is so good. I believe I am this week's episode behind.
The guy reminds me of me in only one aspect so far. I'm multilingual.
That show is just so good. How far did you get?
Episode 2 or 3, I think. I don't remember off the top of my head. Because
Ah,
I got stuck with laundry before coming on the air, so um, don't ever try to wash a body pillow. Um,
I like the snicker there.
just dry clean it or something, because they will break your washer if you're not careful because they get so heavy.
Ross in the chat has a question for you, Darren. Says, Darren, what about the etchy romance anime from last year or 2022? More than a married couple, but not lovers.
That wasn't exactly etchy. When I talk etchy, I'm specifically mentioning shows where scenes were suggestive or needed to be censored. there has not been any real cause. Basically, shows that show TNA with censors or uncensored. There has not been a good etchy show in a hot minute.
Uh, going down the list from chat, John Knight says Foolish Angel Dances with the Devil also has an English dub. Kaya Tadu agrees, just dry clean the body pillows.
And Ross says, and to people like me and Darren who are watching Instant Death Ability, happy belated birthday to the Pigtail Girl, Tomachika Danora,
Danora.
whose birthday was on Friday.
Yep.
And happy belated birthday to Darren, whose birthday was yesterday.
Thank you.
Darren is now about to enter his 30s.
I got 2 more years, Doug.
That's why I said about to.
Ugh.
I didn't say you did.
Ay.
Kaya says happy birthday.
Youngins.
Thank you. But so yeah, that's on the list. So that's on the list to binge. And then I got 2 more shows from this season I want to try. Fluffy Paradise is one of them, so just wait a little longer.
Doug, are you caught up on Fluffy Paradise?
Yes, we watched that earlier today.
I believe you are behind me by 1.
I am. Yeah, we are watching the English dub.
And if you're watching the English dub, then you might not be. Because we are watching everything subtitled, and we did not watch, we watched.
Or wait, no, it's not English dubbed. So we are caught up all 9 episodes.
Nope, we only watched 8.
Okay, so I'm 1 ahead.
Yep.
And the other one is it was on. Tales of Wedding Rings. And I was gonna check out "'Tis Time for Torture Princess," but I'm probably not.
I will say, Darren, you can be proud of me. I did start an anime that you, my wife, have been on my case about watching since I'm an isekai trash and haven't watched this one. I did watch the first 2 episodes of Jobless Reincarnation.
Thank you, the original isekai.
You know, I as a rule, I don't like most of the genre of isekai. But Doug, I can say from everything I have heard, you will really enjoy that one.
So I was entertained by the first 2 episodes thus far.
It's a kind of a more unique premise, but I mean, it was the first major isekai to gain traction in the light novel world. It just took longer to make itself known because it took forever to get an anime. I mean, hell, they created a whole studio just for that show.
Yeah. And I won't spoil anything from the most recent episode of Fluffy Paradise for you, Ange. All I'll say is I hate where they leave the cliffhangers on that show because stuff really starts getting good and then the ending credits show up and I'm like, damn it.
Half the time there's a little vignette after the credits, though.
I was about to say, Ange, have you finally started paying attention to watching stuff all the way through because of the extra stuff that's missing at the end of the episode? Or the extra stuff that's there at the end of the episode?
Honestly, it's because it's between Marvel doing mid-credit scenes and post-credit scenes, and then missing something for one show at one point. We just make sure we always make sure that we don't skip anything, and if it immediately goes from credits to next week on, then we stop it. But sometimes there's with some shows, sometimes there's a little cute scene before they do the next episode preview.
Mm-hmm. The only reason I brought it up because I thought you said you were the type to, whenever the credits started rolling, you would go ahead and cut it. But a lot of times there's like an extra 10 seconds. If it's not a preview for the next show, there's like a 10-20 second cut scene for the end of that episode that ties something together.
I'm sure I brought that up at one point a while back where we did that and missed something. Ross in the chat. After studying the source material, I found out that my best girl of Tales of Wedding Rings won't appear until episode 12, where she comes second half of volume 6.
And they're covering a lot of volumes in a short time frame.
With light novels, I feel like they can get away with that. Plus, that means no filler.
I am, and I will say that I am behind on Tales of Wedding Rings. I think I'm behind two episodes behind on that one. So I got to catch up on that one too.
No, I think I'm honestly one episode behind on everything.
But what's your opinion, Ange, been on Fluffy Paradise this far?
Cute and adorable, and I'm enjoying it. Definitely not, based on how much I'm watching this season, definitely not like top 3, but definitely really good.
It's been cute, wholesome, just that fun, like, change of pace.
Exactly. It's cute. It's adorable. There's no high stakes anything. But it doesn't feel like an isekai, which I really like.
I will say that the episode that dropped today, couple of one kind of weird thing that happened, and something that it's not a spoiler of any way, shape, or form. If you've watched up to the last couple episodes, Nima needs to stop naming stuff.
Well, yes. Like, that's been a thing.
And you'll see the chaos that ensues when you watch the most recent episode.
I might be 2 episodes behind on Fluffy Paradise.
There are 9 episodes out. Episode 9 dropped today.
It is entirely possible we are 2 episodes behind because according to my list, we only watched 7. However, I can say I agree 100%. Nema needs to stop naming things. What the crap? Because Doug, you're caught up, which means I get towards the end of the last episode we watched is when her brother showed up, and basically there was going to be a trade places bit.
Okay, I'm trying to remember if that was 8.
They were up north, and father was going to go home, and brother and prince showed up.
Yeah. I think that was episode 8. Yep. Episode 8 says Ralph arrives to take over the inspection on his father's behalf.
That was the very end of the episode. So I'm wondering if that was the end of 7. And by that I mean like within the last 5 minutes.
Okay, it could have been the end of 7 going into 8. which so you've seen that she has a goblin that kind of took a human form. She named a spider.
And she named a couple of lesser goblins as well.
Yeah.
But the point is, she needs to stop naming stuff. I agree.
Just wait till 9. That's all I'll say. We'll wait till 9.
Oh, bloody hell.
It has been really cute. Freerin is still as much of a slow burn as the show has been throughout quite a bit of it. This tournament, they have their tournament arc, or where they are trying to become first class mages, taking the tests. It's really thrown some interesting curveballs.
And Ross has confirmed. I was right. I am 2 behind on Fluffy Paradise.
So there we go. Thank you, Ross. But it's interesting to see the test that the mages are on for trying to become a first class mage, and the fact that they're making on this second test everybody kind of work together in a way. And some of the people that look like they may have been heavily favored early on don't make it through this second test. And I won't spoil anything, but it's definitely been kind of interesting. And the most recent episode has even had I saw a spoiler that somebody had made a meme or clipped a couple of scenes from the most recent episode, where basically they're saying that you have to use force to kill this obstacle that looks like Freerin, and basically you just see Fern say, so in other words, you just need force, that I can kill Miss Freerin. And it's they kind of left it off there. I'm like, wait, I need more.
So, can you compare? I don't know if you've seen FF Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, but could you compare the two, or no?
I cannot really compare the two because it's been.
In
I don't
terms
think
of
I saw.
quality.
I don't think I saw FMA Brotherhood in its entirety. I think I saw parts of it, like a couple episodes here or there. So I can't really give an honest opinion on both of them. I'll leave that up to people who have watched both shows.
I loved Brotherhood. Brotherhood was fantastic.
So once you get around to actually watching Freerin, and it'd be interesting to hear your take on that.
Yeah, okay.
And Ross says that he won't spoil anything in Fluffy Paradise. He promises.
Yeah, nope, I don't. I suspect I'm at least 1, if not 2 episodes behind on everything. So the other, honestly, I'm enjoying Signs of Affection more than I'm enjoying Fluffy Paradise. And where we left off was such a moment that I actually can't wait to go back and pick that up.
I think Signs of Affection. I know my wife's watching that one. I think that one's getting English dubbed, and she's like, I think over the last couple of days she checked like 3 times to see if a new episode has dropped of it. She's been enjoying that one as well.
Ross's question for you two, because Angela doesn't like isekai trash much. Just joking. But what rule is there that you can't tell anyone that you were reincarnated? Because why can't Nima tell that?
Honestly, I don't know.
Honestly, I don't think it's a rule so much as it's she doesn't want her parents to think she's anything but their little girl.
Probably, and you kind of see it in some isekais, they do know that they've been isekai'd or reincarnated. I think Rimuru had talked about coming from um, a,
Oh, he
a past life.
forget that. He brings his whole past life into the show.
Oh, that's right. He made manga and stuff for the class when he was teaching and reincarnated as a slime.
Yes, and not only that, he integrated many features of modern day society into the world in regards to construction of a town.
And they also do that in Realist Hero. A lot of stuff that he brings with him. Granted, that's not reincarnated; that was summoned to another world. But I mean, in Vending Machine, he couldn't really communicate that he was from another world because he was a vending machine with only a few phrases.
There was another show, High School Prodigies Have It Easy in Another World. They literally started developing everything in that world to modern Japanese or to modern day society, and then 80,000 Gold, she just brought stuff over.
Yeah, she did. She just went back and forth.
Exactly.
Reincarnated as a sword. I think only the girl who handled the sword could hear his voice and didn't really know that he was reincarnated.
Mhm.
Killing slimes for 300 years. She doesn't really talk about the fact she's reincarnated. I don't know about jobless reincarnation. If
He
he,
doesn't. He admits it to one other person in season 2, and there's a good reason for it. But that's like the latter half of season 2. You're not going to see that for a while. So you probably won't even remember me saying anything about it.
probably not.
Because there's 25 episodes to the first season, or 24, I forget. And speaking of which, we're getting our second core for season 2 in April, I think.
I don't know.
I don't remember off the top of my head, but Jobless Reincarnation is coming back.
I do know that I'm still waiting for more Spy Family.
We definitely all spy. We all need Spy Family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, last episode we watched was the one where Bond ended up having to basically got a bath, and you saw a wet Bond, which that was hysterical. And Ross says this is a fact for Angela. Shrek 2 is being released back into the theaters for its 20th anniversary. Is Shrek really 20 years old?
I was about to say, it's been 20 years.
Why is that? I suppose I feel really old now. I really enjoyed Shrek when it came out.
What might get me back into
Oh
the
my
theater
god.
Shrek 2 released then. The original Shrek was what, 2000?
2001.
Okay.
I saw two.
Well, you know what else is old and got me thinking the other day? How it and one other show were two of the only good shows that Disney put out that didn't have subliminal messages, I guess you could say. The Emperor's New Groove is almost 30 years old.
Oh my god, that was another fun one.
Yeah, Shrek 2 came out in 2004.
Wow.
My God.
I was in college.
I was in elementary school, and that's all the kids could freaking talk about was Shrek.
That's just absolutely insane to think about.
Hmm. But
And for
um
I
the
don't
one that's
know.
gonna get me back into the theaters is gonna be Rascal Does Not Dream of a Knapsack Kid.
Uh, and Ross adds Paramount is making a sequel series for The Fairly Odd Parents and a movie for Danny Phantom.
Ho-
That's it's the
Hopefully it'll be good quality and not go to crap like many of these other shows they try to bring back, and it just goes to.
See, I didn't watch either of those. That's like the generation. That's like the I was just a smidge too old for those.
See,
I watched Fairly Odd Parents, but
that's
that was more so because I was with my ex-wife and she had a 12-year-old and he watched it.
that's my generation.
Yep.
I'm in that weird in between and generation where I know a lot of the older stuff, but I also, because of my generation, know the newer stuff too.
Whereas when I was finishing college and living at home, I tended to ignore what my at the time 12-year-old sister was watching because she watched a ton of Disney Channel stuff and I tended to ignore it. So,
You were too busy watching FMA and Trigun.
no, actually, I watched that much later. No, at that point, I was finishing school, working too much, and mostly watching sports. Because as soon as her shows were done, it was bedtime for her, and then I'd stay up half the night watching the Red Sox choke again.
And again and again.
And then 2004 happened, and well,
04, 07, 13.
and the cycle repeats itself because now we're back to the 90s.
But you know what? At least we've gotten to see a championship in our lifetime.
Yep.
There's many people who couldn't say that.
Mm-hmm.
I was happy when the Cubs had finally broke their curse too.
Agreed. Now I just want to see. Now I just want to see the Lions actually do well. In other news, thank you, Ross, for bringing all of this to our attention. Let's see if I can do this with a straight face. Sony is making a Cola Wars movie about Pepsi versus Coca-Cola.
They should throw Dr. Pepper in there since it's the other one. And
Dr. Pepper is
is the
technically
king
part
of
of
anime.
Dr. Pepper technically is under the Coca-Cola umbrella.
I thought they were truly independent at this point because you could see them with Pepsi too. And it's probably because Pibb is fizzled out. I'm pretty
I
sure
think
Dr. Pepper's no longer under the Coke umbrella.
I'm going to look that up because I'm curious.
I don't remember.
I'm just going solely off of going to the grocery stores and any time that there are deals.
Uh,
I think it's its own thing.
actually,
Kaya in the chat.
according to the internet, Dr. Pepper is its own entity. The bottling
Told
of
you.
it is the reason it shows up with Coke and sometimes Pepsi. It is very much a whoever it gets bottled with locally that's where it goes on the shelf.
And that makes sense because, like I said, my store dispenses Dr. Pepper,
Um,
and we sell Pepsi products. Next door dispenses Coke products, and they sell Dr. Pepper.
um,
Okay.
why is there a Dr. Pepper subreddit is really my question now.
Because
Dr. Pepper
everything
has
has a
way.
subreddit.
It's probably
Um,
because Dr. Pepper has more flavors than Coke or Pepsi.
uh,
And
pretty much. Keurig Dr. Pepper Inc. is the owner of Dr. Pepper. Basically, it's been that way since
1885.
yeah.
Speaking of which, what came first, Dr. Pepper, Coke, or Pepsi?
Uh, it would either be Dr. Pepper or Coca-Cola because I know Pepsi came later.
Dr. Pepper was actually first.
By only 1 year though.
Still,
Yeah, I don't care about that.
And as a reminder, there is a chance we could have a special guest joining us at some point in the second half of the show. All depends on if their schedule will allow them to join us. I did send them the link to join. If they are able to join, it'll be fun to reconnect with them as it's been a while since they have been a guest on the show. Uh, so, yay for a surprise guest.
Okay.
And Ross says, don't forget Coca Cola was a drug drink.
technically, they were all drug drinks. They all originated in pharmacies. And don't forget, many pharmacies used to have soda fountains attached to them.
Correct. And Dr. Pepper has been sold in Japan since 1973. It is widely available in Greater Tokyo, Okinawa, and parts of the Tokai region, where it is distributed by local Coca-Cola bottlers. It is not actively marketed in other regions of Japan. Coca-Cola's Osaka bottler began selling Dr. Pepper in 1983, but pulled the product 2 years later due to low sales.
Hmm. And
Um,
meanwhile, it is the face of anime in regards to Steins Gate, because that was Hoin Kyoma's drink of choice. And then in Umaru, they picked on Coca Cola. I don't really think they've ever had Pepsi float
uh,
around the anime.
um, Dr. Pepper and 7 Up are the two sodas that do not have their own that did not have their own network of bottlers and distributors, so it was a fairly even split of Coke versus Pepsi.
Yep.
Well, that kind of makes sense then as to why you'll see it, as you were saying, and as they said in the chat, Kaya and Ross both saying that they distribute by Coke in some areas and by Pepsi in others.
Because the BK I worked at had Dr. Pepper and was also Coca-Cola.
And the one I work, and of course where I work, we have Dr. Pepper and we're Pepsi, because born in the Carolinas.
This makes all the sense in the world.
Yep. And speaking of soda, I do want to throw a shout out to a little diner in Hummelstown, Pennsylvania that we ate at earlier this week. It's called the Soda Jerk Diner. It's basically set to the 1950s era, and hands down, it's probably one of the top 5 diners I've ever eaten at in my life.
Um, Ross, you are absolutely Ross's next comment. He's absolutely correct. Pepsi got rid of Sierra Mist and made a new replacement called Starry, which is basically it's Sprite.
It's rebranded Sierra Mist with a slightly stronger lemon flavor, just barely. They tried to rename it Mist Twist, and that backfired like really bad.
It's basically Sprite. It's basically Sprite. Like
Sprite has a more carbonated flavor than Starry, if you ask me.
I
Flavor wise, when they're flat, they're very similar.
basically what I found that it was closer to Starry was significantly closer to Sprite than Sierra Mist was, and I could not stand Sierra Mist.
I
I
wasn't a
still
Sierra
prefer
Mist fan either.
I still prefer 7 Up to all of them.
I actually will agree with that, although I tend to favor ginger ale when I do soda.
I can agree to that also. Do
I
you like Schweppes or Canada Dry?
Um, I've had both. Both are good. Seagram's is the one that I dislike.
I don't like ginger ale at all.
I shake my head at you for that.
Same.
I,
If
I
you
can't.
want if you want to do something interesting, take ginger ale and mix it with red Gatorade. It's actually pretty good.
What I like to do is I will do what I like to do is I will take a shot worth of gin and some and some and some other stuff and then top it off with ginger ale.
I don't drink.
That is fair. All of these news and cola topics has been brought to you by Ross the Side Rail Guy. Absolutely, Ross. But
Hey,
but that's
it still pertains to anime and Japan.
yep. Thank you, Wikipedia.
Yep. And Kaya, I don't know if you're still out there watching, but are you going to be making it to Anime Boston this year? If you are still in the chat, I have not had the chance to hang out with Kaya in. I think the last time I really talked to Kaya, like face to face at all, was when he was a guest on the show talking about the VTuber stuff.
Speaking of Anime Boston, I was looking at the guest list. I believe there's at least one VTuber guest.
Interesting. I have not seen the whole list of guests just yet.
Let me make sure I'm right.
Now, my question with these VTubers, are they broadcasting from somewhere in the convention center behind closed doors, or are they comfortably sitting at home?
Years past, I'm not sure. I think one year they had let me look and see what they had for last year, because last year I know they had some. Last year they had Holo Live guests, and I think the panels they did were video panels. I don't think the actual VTubers were like the people behind the VTubers. I don't think they were actually at Anime Boston. I think it was more meet and greets via video feed.
And I kind of figured they would be because the whole thing about VTubers is their identities are supposed to be secret. Of course, a few have leaked, but
Thus far, the guests announced for Anime Boston include Alejandro Saab, Christina V, Hayden DeVoe, Maley Flanagan, Michelle Ruff, Zena Robinson, musical guests Baby Beard, Haizaki with Kaya, and Queen Bee. And then cosplay guests include Cowbutt Crunchies, Cutie Pie Sensei, Down in Creative Studios, Rage Gear Props, and Stardust Megu.
No, but I am in fact I was in fact mistaken, and that was from and the when I said that I was looking at last year's list.
It says that Alejandro Saab is a voice actor and VTuber, so you might have seen something there. I didn't know that he did VTubing. Says you can find him as Cyu CYYU VTuber on TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube. So I may have to look that up and check that out. Now, in the chat, we have Ross saying Christina V is an amazing voice actor. He met her 2 years ago, and Queen Bee is a good singer. Did the opening theme to Raven of the Inner Palace. I actually got to meet Christina V a couple years ago as well. Got her autograph on my Familiar of Zero DVD because she was the voice of Louise Francois. She was a little surprised that I pulled something out so old, especially at a gaming convention where she was there promoting Genshin. But I do agree she is a very talented voice actress and has been in the industry for years.
Yep.
It's also crazy. I think Monica Rial, I heard people talking about celebrating her 25th anniversary as a voice actor.
Wow.
This year.
Speaking of Genshin, I'm not gonna lie, I am surprised it is still as popular as it is.
And I laugh because people are still talking about it. I've still been seeing a lot of photographs of cosplayers from Genshin. And I know Honkai Star Rail came out from the same company that made Genshin. I have not seen any of the graphics or gameplay or anything from that. I just know a lot of the VTubers that I watch, or not VTubers, but Japanese YouTubers have been sponsored by Honkai, especially those who are big into gacha games.
Yep, and I can think of a couple a pair off the top of my head who love to do gacha games and challenge each other and do head to heads.
Mm-hmm. And I still have never spent a dime on the gacha side of a gacha game.
I think that's just not my kind of game. Like, that's one of those. Ross says they're sad on Genshin. I'm still waiting on news about a Switch version or the anime that is not advanced in either field. I would watch an anime for Genshin just based on the voice acting cast and the images alone.
Yeah, as long as they kept the original cast.
Yeah, like,
and we've had the honor of talking to a lot of voice actors who have roles in Genshin on the English side, and they're all amazing people.
Agreed. And
Josie McCoy was a blast to have on.
Josie McCoy was fantastic.
Griffin Burns.
You want Sean Chiplock, I believe, as
Sean
well.
Chiplock was in there.
That's
Kelly
that.
Baskin.
What we've got to do is go back and clip that one section.
And Ross says the anime was announced 2 years ago, but no news so far.
And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna hear all the news all at once, and then before we know it, it's gonna be so far out of left field when it finally does release that no one's gonna remember it had been announced that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
HH says, "Lol, Baskin Shark." I'm not sure what that means.
I'm not sure either. But Kelly was a lot of fun to have on the show. I was honestly surprised because I went to the Syracuse Retro Game Con with no expectations whatsoever, not knowing exactly what to expect from it, and the fact I was able to get a couple of autographs and 2 guests who wanted to come on the show from that. I viewed that as a win because it was my first ever gaming convention.
Yep.
And it turned out that was 2 very, very good guests. A Baskin shark is a filter feeding shark. Interesting. The more you know. Play on words.
You learn something new every day.
You do. And that's one reason we love the chat here, because the chat's always got a plethora of knowledge.
And even when they drive us completely off the rails, it's still entertainment at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah. But, getting back to like the conventions and stuff, it's still kind of crazy to think about, everything that we've seen and experienced over the past, many years.
Yep.
I kind of miss going to the cons. I know that was a sacrifice that I was making by switching careers and moving. But I know at some point I'll be able to get back to I might make 1 or 2 cons this year if I can figure out how to schedule things right.
That's a big if.
But I'm still learning stuff.
Oh yeah, no, my big thing is, oh god, now we're going down the rabbit hole of Ross says to HH, "What flavors does the Baskin Shark have?" I know where Ross is going with this.
I'm guessing 31.
Kaya finally got back to you, Doug, and says it'll happen. They can only do 2 cons now with the job switch. Hopefully
Awesome.
that job switch was a good thing.
And hopefully I'm able to make Anime Boston and we can meet up and hang out for a bit.
Oh god. Yes, Ross, I knew there with Mint and HH answers Ross, there's mint, there's shrimp, there's plankton, ...
So Kaya will be at PAX and AAC. So unfortunately, he won't be at Anime Boston. Don't.
I will be at PAX. I will be enforcing. So if I happen to run into you, that'd be awesome. If not, PAX is huge. There's way too many people, and Saturday's already sold out. So, and AAC, I believe, is right around the time we leave the country, so we will not be there.
I will not be at AAC. That is not one that's on my radar currently.
Um,
And Kaya is excited about the FF14 panel.
I'm going to give you the same advice I gave
Everybody else.
one person last night. Basically, they will open the doors to the they typically open the doors to the convention center early, so get into the convention center as early as possible. And typically they start the lines an hour, or they start letting people get in line an hour or two before the actual panel start, and not earlier.
And Kaya says that they will be there at 7 a.m.
I will probably be there stupid early as well, because at least either myself or my husband will be on the morning shift, and for our department's morning starts early.
And I was talking with one of my coworkers about going to conventions, and they were curious about because they have small kids, and they had as a parent curious about what goes on at these events and things like that. And it made me realize that I have been at these conventions at many different varieties. But I've never volunteered and never technically been a guest. And it looks like our guest of honor is joining us. So some of you know him as the creator of HomeCircleMedia.com. Please welcome Gavin Goska back to the show.
Hey, it's been a little while. How you guys doing?
It has been a long time. Good to see ya.
You too.
I had a feeling it was going to be you.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't tell him who it was. I just said that that there was a chance that we were gonna have a special guest joining us.
Hope that's not a disappointment, Darren.
And
no,
Ross
it
in
was
the
what
chat
I was expecting.
Ross in the chat says, "Welcome back, sir."
Oh, thank you so much. Good to be back.
How have you been, Gavin? It's been a while since we've last chatted.
Yeah, it has been a minute or two. Just doing my thing, keeping busy and stuff. Did my first con of the year. Was it 2 weekends ago? Down at ZipCon in Akron. So that was kind of cool. Get back in there.
It had to have felt kind of good to get back into the swing of things. I know that due to the fact of price hikes everywhere, and you've had to dial back the amount of appearances at conventions that you've been making, but.
Yeah, we did. Was it Colossal Con North up in the Dells, Wisconsin? That was in November, so it wasn't terribly long ago, before this last one and stuff. But still, a couple months. So yeah, we're doing the same thing again this year. We'll be at Anime St. Louis is our next one in I think early May. Then NakaCon, of course, at the end of May, Memorial Day weekend, and just I think a couple more after that. Keeping it light.
In the chat.
So I take it we're out again.
Yeah, Enemy's been still. It's still Memorial Day weekend, and since Naka moved on to that, it's like kind of a no choice.
Yes, to answer HH's question, Akron, Ohio. Yes. John Knight in the chat says, "Hi, Gavin."
Oh, hey, how's it going?
And the question from John to everybody: has anybody watched The Great J Will Not Be Defeated anime?
The Great Jahi. I have started it, have not finished it.
Finished it.
Have not watched.
Have not watched.
So I'm the only one.
Now, if memory serves me right, I think the last time Gavin joined us, he did a live performance, live musical performance.
Yeah, there was a little bit ago, actually. Yeah, that was cool.
I don't think that was last time.
That was a while back.
Yeah, it was a while back. Yeah,
because I don't remember that.
Well, it might have been 2 times ago.
Yeah, that was good.
Things have been crazy.
Yeah,
yep.
Time flies when you're moving.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So what's new on the home front of Home Circle Media?
Probably not a whole lot, honestly, right now. I haven't been really getting a whole lot of new merch in lately. Just kind of selling through what we got. We got stocked up pretty pretty big time around the summer of last year. So I've got plenty to go around. We've still got tons of puzzles and paper theater and stuff. A few things we're kind of getting out of though, for a number of reasons. I think last time we talked about the notebooks being one of them. Just not that much demand, and our distributor that does the notebooks, they ended up raising their price quite a few times. I think in 2021. So they're getting pricey now, and I just kind of feel weird about selling them for they're getting up like $20.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Still dealing with the art books.
Actually, ZipCon was big for art books. A lot of interest in those. It's kind of hit or miss anymore with those. I know those tend to be a little pricey. Some of them, not all of them though. Some of them are more reasonable and stuff. Of course, we get them all imported, so there's the whole shipping thing to contend with. But trying to keep those around and stuff.
I don't remember if I had told you, but I had started a little project with the Show by Rock art book. I'd started going around to conventions and getting autographs by the voice actors from all the bands and everything.
Yeah,
I've got quite a few. I think that those books are in storage currently at the moment, but I also haven't been to a convention since I got back from training in Georgia last July.
Oh wow! What was your last con?
GalaxyCon Raleigh with Darren.
Cool. Always heard good things about those in general. I think there's one in Columbus too, over my way.
And they had a little mini con, I guess you could call it, called Animate Raleigh. They wanted a winter convention, and they were like, "Well, the convention center has a spot to fill for this weekend, so why not?"
That's cool.
So,
I heard about that one too. Animate, yeah.
So I went to a convention before any of them this year because it was literally like the first weekend of the new year.
Nice. Winter gets kind of slow for cons. Understandably with a lot of the weather. I guess if you're down south.
Not only that, but beginning of the year, people just blew all their money on Christmas. Taxes haven't hit yet, so yeah, it was a kind of a low turnout. And on top of that, it wasn't really advertised that well because it was kind of a last minute decision. But now that it's got its foot in the door, curious to see what it's going to do next year.
Yeah.
And where I come from, winter events are few and far between because with the weather, you never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Because New England.
Speaking of which, have y'all really got much snow this year? I've seen several of my lawn care groups say they haven't plowed anything this year.
We had like nothing here. I mean, it's weird.
We got shut down for an alleged nor'easter, but in my part of the state, it was a dusting, and I mean literal dusting. It turned to rain and then melted. Connecticut and Rhode Island is where they got the snow, and even then it was 10 to 12 inches. So
I don't even think we've had a storm dump more than 6 to 8 inches total.
Yeah.
From one particular storm, and they got more snow this year than they have the last few
and
out here.
Speaking of weather, Ross says, anyone want to move down here to Arkansas? It's really warm as spring down here, no snow or cold. Ross, the real question is how humid? Because I do not do heat and humidity well at all, and with my seasonal allergies, I don't want to die. And by that I mean I'm allergic to any and every pollen under the sun.
Oof.
And I joke that outside tries to kill me.
Ross says no humidity at all.
I'm skeptical of this.
To be fair, we just crossed the 2-year mark on snowfall in the area. We have not had measurable snow at RDU in over 2 years now.
Nice.
Not nice. We want snow down here, at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, you can come up and visit us. I think the snow
is a treat for us.
There's still snow on our front lawn from the last storm, although it is finally starting to melt, and we've got some warmer temperatures coming in finally.
Well,
H H
what
H
kills
H.
me,
Oh,
sorry,
what?
what kills me is that it was raining and in the 70s on Friday, and then this morning I woke up and there's solid ice on my window.
Hmm.
And I'm trying to go
Whereas
to work.
whereas this morning I woke up and it was 25 degrees out. Tomorrow it's gonna hit 50.
Yeah, that's weird. The whole up and down thing.
That's New England.
You don't
H
like the weather? Wait 10 minutes.
literally. HH says I actually like Arkansas. There's a lot of geological related attractions. I've never actually been.
Neither have I.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of
Same.
this. There's a lot of this country I've never actually visited. Um,
I haven't left the East Coast.
I've been to Ohio.
I
I
take that
have.
back. I did go to Ohio, but I didn't have enough time to go visit Gavin.
Yeah, I remember that.
I've done. I've done some central, some of the Midwest, most of the East Coast, parts of California, and very little in the middle. Or once you get past, I think Sandusky, and that was like twice.
Farthest west I've been is Ohio, Cleveland, Columbus, Marion, Ohio. So that area.
I get out west,
And
well, Midwest and West because of the cons more now, but we did a couple of trips, out west, like Colorado, Arizona, and stuff. It's nice. I mean, it's dry heat out there, which is cool. So you don't have the humidity.
Vegas is 110 in Vegas feels on par with 90 in New England.
Yeah, yeah.
Or 90 actually probably feels more like 90 or 80 something here.
You may be right. The humidity down south kills me.
And North Carolina's in that perfect balance in between the South and the North, where it's like we get the worst of both worlds.
And Timothy's chiming in with the geographical weather bit, saying that they're partial to north central Florida, and just so you know, we are experiencing winter weather too, down to the 40s even. That sounds like my mother, who calls me up to tell me how cold it is when it gets just below 50.
Timothy, on that note, what city in Florida? Because that's you're talking the area where my dad's family is.
Gavin, you I don't know if you remember Karma Cookie from the Hazy Radio days.
Maybe.
But that's Timothy.
Okay. Oh, cool. Okay.
So he's been here a long time, as has Ross. And
so John Knight in the chat says, Gavin, who got you into anime or what?
I stumbled into it quite by accident. I want to say I was at Gen Con back in 2009 with Ed, my bandmate in Midnight Syndicate, and I was flipping through the program actually, and they had an ad in there for Witchblade. It had just come out, I think. It was like a full page ad, and I was a big fan of the TV show, the live action TV show of that. So I'm like, never really, knew that much about anime and stuff. Looked interesting and stuff, and that show just floored me. It's still a favorite. I mean, there's so much like I've seen after that and stuff, but
it is entirely possible we crossed paths at Gen Con in 2009 because I was there running around at that point.
Nice.
That was my peak CCG days.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah, entirely. But yeah, it's that was like my first experience with like just not wanting to like wanting to see what the next episode was, just the whole binge thing and stuff. And then it just kind of went from there. But I really got more into the music at first. From that show in particular, I was trying to find that the opening song, that XTC, and through that I discovered an anime internet radio station called Anime Info Radio. That's no longer around. Unfortunately, I miss that station dearly. And that was like the doors just opened, and just so much good music. And then the music would lead me into the shows, and then the shows would kind of flip around and turn me on to new music and stuff. So,
yep.
And I'd also ask Evan, have you seen the anime show by Rock Dub?
I am not. I know you're a huge fan of that, Doug, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I did pick up was it Crunchyroll was having a huge sale the other day. So I might have spent a few dollars on some things. So kind of making my way through some things there. But yeah, I'll have to get to that one at some point.
And Timothy is answering your question, Darren, about Florida. The biggest Florida town near me is Patatka, kind of halfway between Ocala and St. Augustine.
Okay, my dad's family was just south of Jacksonville in the Lottie, Stark area.
So you might so yeah, Timothy, that sounds like it's not far from some of my family. Some of my family's in Palm Coast. I've been to St. Augustine.
I
and
have too.
And my mom is, I forget what town she's in now. It's about 45 minutes out of Orlando.
Ironically enough, my mom and dad actually lived very close to each other way before they ever knew each other because her parents moved them down to Middleburg, Florida, which is about 35 minutes away from where my dad lived. And this was while she was in like 3rd grade, 4th grade, somewhere in that area.
Timothy says,
"Oh, go ahead."
Stark is 60 miles. Oh, okay.
Yep.
So not too far though.
Nope.
Now I kind of laughed looking back at the history of talking with Gavin, because Gavin and I met when I was a co-host on a show called Crossing the Void Radio. Well, him and the guests that night was Gavin and his bandmate Ed from Midnight Syndicate. And I think we were on a commercial break and we just happened to somehow anime came up.
Yep.
I don't remember if I started talking it or if you started talking it. And then we just kind of had the connection. I was like, "Oh, have you seen Strike Witches?" And you're like, "If you like Strike Witches, you have to see Girls in Panzer."
Yeah.
So you do the gaming stuff.
I not as much. I used to be huge into Dungeons and Dragons. That was like my childhood and stuff growing up. But not. I haven't had a lot of time, and of course, you need people that are willing to play.
Timothy says he remembers Crossing the Void well.
Because
Yeah.
Okay. No, Gen Con, I've been multiple times. I've done my share working in the card hall with one of the companies that I used to play and run events for their games.
Oh, that's cool. I played over there a few years. I would play over in the West End, actually. That's where their anime track was at. I missed that dearly. That was a lot of fun. They'd have me kind of do like these little short shows, like a couple times a day and stuff, just acoustic. So good times. That was a long time ago though.
Yeah, no, that 09 was my first trip to Gen Con.
That's a heck of a con. I mean, if you're at all into gaming, that is like, oof.
I absolutely loved it, and I want to go back, but the timing of it is just
never good.
Not well. It's August, and given that my in-laws, we all do a family vacation in August. It's usually it's always too soon, and trying to take a lot of time off at once does not necessarily go over well with work.
Yeah. And I know that last year you had your first outdoor performances with Midnight Syndicate at Cedar Point. How did that go?
That was a trip. It was a great experience. We had a fantastic troupe of like entertainers. Basically, it was a lot of acrobatics and stuff. Like we had a unicycle duo. The one girl did a hair hanging thing and stuff. We had a sword swallower. Very, very cool stuff. I think it caught a lot of people off guard because they're used to us being in a theater and it's all about like playing to the subtlety and the shadows and all that kind of stuff. And this was very pyro, over the top, big show, it's just kind of
Like
strange.
like your three-ring
Fancy.
circus or your carnival.
It was very like minor Cirque du Soleil kind of, it was cool to experience it. I don't know if we'll be doing outdoor shows again. We ended up canceling, or they ended up canceling 16 performances. There were 2 weeks literally where we did not touch the stage because of weather or whatever. So that was a little weird. But on
And
the good side of that is we got to a haunt act, which is something that's been on my bucket list forever. We went over to Erie Estates and ended up doing like little cameos in their piano room. So that was kind of cool.
That is really neat because I remember talking with you last fall, and you're like, "We're trying, we can't talk about what we're doing, but we have something big planned." And so I was curious how everything had gone because we really haven't had a chance to talk between everything going on with you musically, and then me moving, changing jobs, and stuff
Yeah,
like that. Although I did move closer to you,
you did.
I'm in PA now, so.
I know, and it figures like I don't get out that way that much anymore. I used to do Setsucon over in Altoona. They used to be at Penn State actually, but I couldn't this year. I think it was a conflict with the date or something. So I'll get up, hook up with you at some point over there.
Oh yeah, and with my job, I'm usually at the mercy of the phone as to when I'm going to get called. Although I got forced onto a specific job where I'll be working uh, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. So I'll have Thursday, Friday off. But Wednesday night, I go in at 11 p.m. and get off at about 7 a.m. So I really don't have the whole day off. So I'll be sleeping half the day on Thursday. So,
Interesting.
but it's definitely been fun. I did pass all the training, get promoted to conductor, so I'm no longer a trainee.
Cool.
So,
Congrats. That's cool.
and I've been officially marked up for about a little over 3 weeks now.
Nice.
So if you do make it to Altoona, I did hear that they did bring a train back that goes from Allentown to Altoona. So there's a chance I could make it out that way if it happens to be on a weekend of the convention out there. Maybe I can see if I can finagle my way over to the con.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Also, I've been one of the trains that we take go from Allentown to New Jersey, and the hotel we stay at was about 20 minutes from PucciCon in Teaneck, New Jersey. Unfortunately, I won't be out there next weekend because I'll be working in the yard this week. So
Yeah. That's cool.
conventions are going to be a little bit tougher to get to, but at the same point in time, it just means I can start saving some money. So when I can make conventions, I can make purchases like Darren does.
or it means you can watch more anime because you'll have time.
There you go.
In the chat, John Knight says, Gavin, what's your favorite dubbed anime?
Oh man, that's tough. Boy. Well, I'll tell you one that I had to watch the dub of to really get into it was Steins Gate. I tried the sub of that for like twice, I think. I watched like a couple episodes and stuff, and I just wasn't getting it, getting into it and stuff. And as soon as I started on the dub, I'm like, okay, I'm in. And that's gone on to become like an awesome, it's one of my favorite shows ever. I don't think there will ever be a time traveling anime that's more well done than that, like well thought out and how all the threads tie together. I just rewatched it, in fact.
But by the way, did you watch Steins Gate Zero?
I did not, no.
Okay, because neither did I. But I will agree with you. Steins Gate is in a class of its own.
Yeah, I started rewatching a couple like classics, like I watched Death Note again, Steins Gate. I don't have Code Geass on disc, but I know they're doing that collector set coming out. I haven't checked the price on that. I heard it's kind of up there, but that's another one that's just like, yeah, classic stuff.
Steins Gate is on my to watch list.
Oh, good stuff.
I missed it when it was out or when it was new.
Yeah.
And subsequently then I forgot about it. And then I started then once we got Crunchy and all the other services, then I started overfilling my watch list. And well, free time, what's that?
That's one of
Now,
those shows too. Like you have to like you don't realize it until you've watched the entire show. But like from second one of episode one, you need to like really be paying attention because everything matters in that. And like I
yep.
said, you just don't realize it until after you've seen it. And you're like, oh, I see what they did there. Okay.
Yep.
Uh,
By the way, did you watch any of the other science adventure series, Chaos Head or Robotic Notes?
I have Chaos Head, actually, the limited box of that. I have not seen Robotics Notes though.
Okay, because there was a couple of references to Chaos Head in Steins Gate. I don't know if you caught them
Oh,
because they all take place in the same universe.
yeah, yep.
Yep, we got stuff in the chat. Timothy, in this economy, steady jobs are considered precious. 100%, absolutely agree. John says, "Did you watch Steins Gate, the movie? Load a region of deja vu."
I've not. No.
And then Ross in the chat, Gavin, if you ever get a chance, he suggests the anime Parallel World Pharmacy.
Okay, I'll have to. I'm up for if it's anything similar, like a time traveling thing. I'm all about it. So
It's an isekai, so it's summoned to another world.
okay, cool.
And I will say, because usually if there's something big that I'm really hooked on, I'm usually like, Gavin, keep an eye out for this show's stuff. And the big one right now is Freerin.
Have I heard of that? I don't think I have.
That's one that everyone's talking about.
Interesting.
It's called Freerin Beyond Journey's End.
Oh, I saw an ad or something for that. Okay, now I know what you're talking about. Yep.
And in the chat, Ross, HH is talking to you, Ross, Arkansas. That he went to Mount Ida as a child and it was freaking amazing. Population of 1,200. Great area, mining tour, and he's heard that the mining tourism is true. You know, maybe someday when I have the time, I will do a trip and visit all you people in the South.
Yeah.
And at some point, maybe we can figure out a way of getting together and taking AZR on the road and doing live shows at random conventions.
There you go.
Trash Taste USA version. Got it.
God. Then we'd have to come up with stupid challenges and harass each other more than we do.
I was about to say, as if we don't harass each other as it is.
And Gavin, I do thank you so much for supporting us for all these years. I don't know if you realize it, but in a couple months we turned 10.
Wow, that's crazy.
Can you believe that?
That's gotta trip you out. I mean, that's yeah, time flies.
It does.
And Gavin was amongst the powerhouses that pushed me to do this show early on.
Well, I don't know. I don't think I had to do much pushing. I think you were kind of all about it.
I think really, Doug, all you needed was for a couple of people to tell you, to reassure you that this was a good idea.
Yeah.
I don't think you needed convincing to do it. I think you didn't believe in yourself enough to think it was a good idea.
You need a reassurance.
Probably, and here we are 10 years later. Still going strong. I've got some amazing co-hosts, great sponsorships.
And big plans for 10th anniversary?
Originally, I had an idea, but then with the new job, things kind of threw a monkey wrench in the plan. But we are going to try to figure out potentially if there's a way of getting all of us in one location to do something special.
Cool.
Yeah. But that would probably require Angela and me to go down to North Carolina and just crash at Darren's house and do a live show from his house.
Let me double check.
And maybe we can kidnap Gavin along the way.
Right.
Good idea.
because I have been lucky enough now to have attended conventions with Angela and a convention with Darren, but all three of us have not been at the same location.
Hey, Darren,
Boy,
what is the likelihood you can get to Orlando?
when?
December?
Pretty good, actually.
Because I've got a potentially dumb idea that may or may not actually work realistically.
I like it.
Doug, what about you?
I don't know. I'd have to see if I get vacation time, how far
I
ahead of
just
time I
looked
need
up
to
the
do
dates
that.
for Holiday Matsuri. Orlando, Florida, December 20th through 22nd.
I mean, Christmas, that time of the year is a slow time for us, so there's a chance I could get time off, but I'm also towards the bottom of the totem pole, so it all depends on who seniority-wise has the time off ahead of me.
Like I said, potentially dumb idea, but it was the first. I knew it was late enough in the year where pretty much all of my stuff is done.
But, definitely something to think about. And we'll probably do our usual, like the special right around the anniversary time. So in early April, and if you're available, Gavin, you're always welcome to be a part of our anniversary specials.
Cool. Yeah. Sounds like a plan.
Maybe might even have Gavin do a live performance again.
Yeah. Give me a heads up on that one. I'll have to practice again. It's been a minute.
From the chat, Gavin, have you watched Goblin Slayer?
I have not. I actually had some merch from that, but I haven't seen it yet.
Goblin Slayer is so good.
Yeah.
Overrated.
I gotta.
No, that one's not overrated, Doug. Shut up, Darren. Help me out here.
How what?
Doug said Goblin Slayer's overrated.
No, that would be.
Oh no, I was thinking Demon Slayer. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that one I will agree with you is overrated. It's fun. Goblin Slayer is so much better.
No, I can't say Goblin Slayer is overrated.
Thank you.
I tried. I watched 2 episodes and couldn't get into it.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
And Ross joking around saying we're going to take you to Universal Studios, Darren, if we do a trip to Orlando.
There you go.
And then we'll bring you to your favorite place on earth, Crunchyroll.
I'm not going to California.
Universal Studios is in Orlando.
I know. He said Crunchyroll.
Oh.
I
was poking fun saying that we're going to bring him to Texas to Crunchyroll.
They're not still headquarters. They're not still headquartered in California.
Well, they might, but I know that they turned the Funimation building into Crunchyroll as well. So
there's also a Crunchyroll office in New York. And HH says, "Wait, Darren hasn't died yet."
No, tonight's probably a night that Darren's going to be around the whole show, which is.
It's called I Got Sleep because of the weather. I literally slept most of the day on Friday.
This is always good.
Disney World at this point is overrated, Ross.
I would not go to Disney. I have been turned off from anything Disney.
Disney at this point has gotten too expensive for what it is. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Like I understand some of it, but the last time I was at Disney was the tail end of 2022. And I have no real desire to go back to the one in Florida.
If I were to go to Disney, it would probably be Disney Japan.
Oh,
so that's about as close to Disney as I would get. Because the ones in the US, no.
We looked into Disney Paris, but realized that when we were in Paris, it was a school vacation, so the price for a day pass was doubled
Oof.
than it was the week before. Which fair, they increased the prices for school vacation. That is in fact a thing. So we didn't go, and then Tokyo Disney just was too out of the way and too expensive for because we did look into that for this upcoming trip, and we're actually doing Universal Studios Japan instead.
Cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And how are the prices at Cedar Point?
I'm kind of out of the loop on that because we always appear there and stuff. But I think they're still doing the passes. I don't know if they're $100 still. Like it might have gone up, but yeah, I don't know. They're not too bad.
I went to Cedar Point once a long, long time ago, and it was an awesome experience.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's a fun park.
I really enjoyed it, but since I moved back home, I haven't been out there because home is Massachusetts.
That's a bit of a drive.
And travel's expensive.
Yeah, it's a bit of a haul just to do an amusement park. I'm sure you got something closer up there.
Six Flags New England is not as good.
Yeah. Well, now Cedar Fair owns, or they merged, with Six Flags, so we'll see what happens with all that.
I did see that not too long ago.
And out near me, we have Hershey Park. That's about an hour and a half away. About 30 minutes away is Dorney Park. It's a smaller amusement park.
It's Cedar Fair owned.
And there's a few out in like Altoona area, I heard too.
Addressing some of Timothy's comments about Disney World being a Florida resident, I remember my mother lives in Florida, not far from Disney. She used to have a season pass because Florida residents could get them discounted, and she said they canceled it and did away with it. And so she hasn't been.
We were down there a couple of years ago on a Tuesday. We had a signing at Universal, but we went to Disney first. And it was like walk on for all the rides. It was great. It was in October and stuff. So we got really lucky with that one.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
And sometimes, it sounds stupid, but like the best time that I had at Hershey Park was the day that my dad and I had gone and there was rain in the forecast. So the park opened, but it was like half capacity of what it normally would have been if it was a nice day. And then the rains came, lasted for about 2-3 hours. A small thunderstorm came through where they had closed rides down, but we stuck it out. Obviously, when the rain started, half of what was there left and people weren't coming back. So we really roller coasters. We got off. There was one roller coaster that I think between my dad and I, we sat in every seat except for 2 on this particular one. And it was ride it, get off, go through the exit, into the entrance, get back up to the top, and have your choice of seat.
Nice.
Yep.
That's cool.
Sounds like what happens whenever it rains on the slopes. Less people on the slopes, more time to ski down, more time to get the chair back up. And the closest I ever got to Disney was my parents when I was like 1 or 2. We went to SeaWorld instead.
Fun fact, Darren, I've never been skiing.
Neither have I.
Yeah, same here.
And y'all live in the north.
My parents wouldn't. My parents didn't want to spend the money to let me go skiing.
I was too afraid to pull a Bono.
Well, let me put it to you this way. West Virginia is kind of middle ground for all 3 of us, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna say maybe.
Snowshoe Mountain is my favorite ski resort on the East Coast.
And Gavin, from the chat, more anime recommendations for you, saying if you enjoy isekai anime, you should watch Reborn as a Vending Machine, The Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, and Mushoku Tensei.
Yeah, slime is definitely, I know that I've not seen it, but I know of that. Reincarnated as a vending machine. Fascinating.
Yes.
Let me put it to you this way,
No.
Gavin. When this was announced, and Angela and Darren can both vouch that my comments were, I hope this sucks because I want to rag on it.
Did you get your chance?
No, it
No.
was good.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I don't know how they managed. Like even my wife enjoyed it.
And
Angela refuses on principle to watch it, which is totally fine. She's really not into the isekai genre at all.
Yeah.
So
I'm
we have
not,
a
and
running
that's
gag of
and
all shonen is overrated and all isekai is trash.
And I
And-
just haven't got around to it yet.
and I refuse to watch it on principle to the point where when I said I would watch something that somebody else recommended, I picked one from the chat because it wasn't vending machine. I ended up the one from the chat. I ended up really liking it. It was a really good, well done romance.
Ooh, which show was it?
That one was My Happy Marriage, courtesy of Ross, I believe.
Interesting. Okay.
And there's been in the past couple of seasons, there's been quite a few good animes that have come out. This season, I've been finding it hard to really get wrapped up in more than one or two shows. Frieren is they continued the season over from the fall season.
Same, Ross.
Banished from the Heroes Party, I really liked season 1, so I've been watching season 2 of that one. Fluffy Paradise is just an adorable show. Anything else I'm watching is more of I started it and now it's 5 to 7 episodes in and I'm just gonna have to finish it.
Nope. I'm actually really I have a laundry list this season, and I'm actually really enjoying most of them to varying degrees.
Cool.
That usually doesn't happen. Usually they're the ones with really long lists, and I'm the one with like 3. And I don't doubt we're gonna go back to that next season.
Enjoy it while it lasts, though.
I don't doubt that we're going to go back to that for me, too, because the one difference between every other season in winter is I have more time in winter.
And then when the warm weather comes, the landscaping picks up.
Whereas for me, it's more of a I work the same hours. I work the same hours year round. It's just
What interests you?
it's what interests me and what basically what I'm doing as far as gaming and other things as well. Because when it's nice out, I have more time, but I also have more that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we are nearing the end of the show. My gosh, time flies.
Oh.
But before we
3 minutes, I repeat, show ends in 3 minutes. Well, now it's 2, but
2.
but
Less than 2.
Of course, thank you, Gavin, for stopping by and hanging out with us for the little bit that you were able to join us tonight. Before we let you go, obviously, we'd love to give you the chance to promote yourself, anything you've got going on. It is our shameless plugging section, and the floor is yours.
Cool. So Home Circle Media is the anime accessories store that I run. It's homecirclemedia.com. MidnightSyndicates.com is the gothic orchestral spooky stuff. Gavin Goska, just my name.com. I've been uploading my roster of shows from back in the day. I actually turned up all my old set lists and stuff from when I used to do the acoustic anime music gigs. So that's been kind of a fun little walk down memory lane. So there's the site. Hey, look at that.
The nice thing about video platform.
Yes. I think I got to change some of these pictures. I think that Toyo Avengers notebook is no longer around.
These are some of the art books that he has. A lot of Love Live stuff I see.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff out of stock.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff's out of stock.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that's a
Fairy
good
stories,
problem
I
to
have
have
that.
sometimes.
Good night, Ross.
But a lot of good stuff on the site. So as Gavin said, be sure to check out homecirclemedia.com for all of the awesomeness. Ross, have a great night.
And I can vote, and I can say I actually went through after the last time Gavin was on and binged a bunch of Midnight Syndicate music on Spotify, and it was amazing.
Oh, thank you. Very cool. Very cool.
It really is good music. Definitely check out Midnight Syndicate. Their music is really awesome.
And Timothy, I will beat the rush and wish everyone a good night now. Later.
Thank you to everybody for tuning in tonight. If you're listening to us through the podcast platform, come by when we have our live shows on Sunday nights, live from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We'd love to see you in the chat and love all the people who come in and interact with us. Of course, thank you to everybody who tunes in, whether it's your first time or you've been listening to us for years. It really means a lot to all of us. Thank you to our sponsors like Gavin, who have supported us for 10 years, close to 10 years now, Gavin.
It's a while.
And until next week, when I think I will be around next week unless my schedule changes, but I don't think it will. I'll find that out later on this week, I'm sure. But until next Sunday, when we have more fun, chaos, and anime nonsense, you've been watching Anime-Zing Radio here live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Until then, have a safe week, everybody, and we'll see you again right here for more AZR.
Good night, everybody.